Hello and thanks for joining us for the San Diego ATD chapter's Get Good with Articulate Storyline. I'm John Morley, an instructional designer, and if I can help you with the project, my email address is in the chat window. That's me. Who are you? Please take a moment to write your name in the chat window, along with where you're logging in from. And if you'd like to network with other participants, including your email address would make that a whole lot easier. I want to welcome everyone who is registered through ISBI and other ATD chapters, and certainly welcome the San Diego chapter members, and express my gratitude for past guest presenters who are gracing us with their expertise tonight. So, hello, Karen, and hello, Dan. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for joining us. No one knows everything about storyline, especially me. So this is our opportunity to talk shop and share what we do know. Toward that end, I'm sharing my tips, tricks, and best practices tonight. And if you have something to share, please speak up. I'm not here to be a sage on the stage. I prefer being a guide on the side so we can all learn from each other. To its credit, Storyline is pretty intuitive, especially if you already know something about PowerPoint. Right off the shelf, it can be used to create something without much learning curve. Being human, which is to say lazy and often on deadline, it's easy to just keep doing whatever worked for you the first time. Manually formatting every slide without bothering with the master slides, manually formatting every paragraph, and eyeballing colors without bothering with themes. In short, wasting hours because a few minutes were not taken to learn how to work more efficiently and turn out a better product by taking fuller advantage of everything Storyline can do. So we're going to take those few minutes tonight. If you're clicking along and get behind, feel free to call out and ask for clarification. I often make mistakes assuming everybody knows everything that I know and can gloss over things that may be the very things that you were logged in trying to learn. So let me know when you don't know. I'll start with something that may seem fairly obvious. Although I'm fond of keyboard shortcuts, I ignored them at first with Storyline. That was a mistake. Here are three of what I found the most useful. Function keys F3 for slide view, F4 for slide master, and F5 for feedback master. Because those keys are appropriated for system use, at least on a Windows computer, you need to hold down the FN key before using those. And let me show you how that works here. So we're in slide view now. That's F3. I'm going to hold down the FN key and press F4, and there we go. That goes to slide master. Holding down FN and pressing F5. There we get the the feedback didn't stay there. I think we have to have a quiz. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Holding down FN and pressing F3. And there we are back in slide view. States are not just for buttons. As the big word up in the upper left indicates, this is a front end for a quiz. And as the visual indicates, there is a speedway theme here. So this is how it works. First, the learner has to select an avatar. I'm fond of bicycles, so I will be a bicyclist, and that takes us to a question. I will answer this incorrectly just for fun and submit that. Ready, set, and here the bicycle, whoops, we crashed because I answered the question incorrectly. The learner gets some feedback here and gets another try here. So I'll get this one correct and we'll see what happens. Here we go. Ready, set, and now the bicycle goes all the way around the track. Now let's take a look under the hood and see what makes that work. Here on the avatar screen, you see that I've set up a variable here, variable at the very bottom here of vehicle, which is a text variable. And then as the user clicks these things, let's just look at motorcycle here. So we adjust that variable to motorcycle when the user clicks the motorcycle image. Pretty straightforward. And then when we go to the screen here, one way to do this would be to, let me bring that up there. So that guy is vehicle. His name is G vehicle. And I could have duplicated that 5 times and put all 5 of them in there. I'll let you see the animation. You see the animation is going all the way around here. Could have done that 5 times and just hidden the one that has not been selected. But that would be a lot of work and that would be a little cluttered. So instead, I made use of the states here. As you can see, as I click the different states, the vehicle object changes looks. And that allows it to assume the avatar that was selected by the learner. So let's go back to take a look at how this works. We'll do another lap. This one only. Ready, set. Now I will admit that this is pretty cheesy here. And I think it would actually be better if every time a question were answered correctly, the avatar, rather than going all the way around, went part way. So every correctly answered question would move the avatar around the track, and finally at the end, you would finish the quiz. But the animation could certainly be a lot more sophisticated as well, rather than the pointed in the same direction all the way around here. However, there is an engineering concept called good enough for what it is. And this is training. So does it really need to be all that sophisticated? When I see things in the e-learning challenge, some of that stuff is just absolutely fabulous looking, high production values, but is it really worth the time and effort to do that? Do I have any discussion there as to just how good your production values need to be when you're working on training?
I'd say when it comes to good enough, it really depends on its application and who you're trying to impress and who you're trying to sell. If it's just going to be to the learners that have done a lot of training and through the same method before, and this is kind of just part of a whole program, you may not need to do all the wow bells and whistles because they're just interested in the objective. But if you're trying to sell a program to a stakeholder, you might need to do a little few bells and whistles to get them interested and hyped on the project.
Marketing counts. Yeah, it's very
Oh
important
yeah.
to make sure you impress the right people. However, this is a see Ruth. Okay, there we go. This is a Ruth Clark. If you're not familiar with her, this is one of several books which I highly recommend. And she makes the point that visuals are good. Visual communication is a very effective way to get points across, but simpler is better. Toward that, or further emphasize that, you may be familiar with the name Richard Mayer. He's a professor at University of California, Santa Barbara, and published author, a real thought leader in the area. And he was giving a presentation at ISPI I attended, and this nationally renowned guy, I expected him to have speaker support, and I expected that speaker support to be absolutely stunning. Maybe rockets going off and rainbow unicorns dancing in concert. But his speaker support was black text on a white background, making the point that simple is better. If you have a lot of production value, that can distract from the learning points. The learner, if you have detail that does not directly support the learning points, that can confuse the learner, take up brain cells that should be applied. And to complicate things, if you ask the learner, do you prefer a higher production value? Do you prefer interesting visuals? The learners will often say yes, although if they are then tested, it turns out that the simpler visuals, the less production value is actually more effective as training. So it's, as Kevin was saying, it's kind of a balancing act. You have to know your audience, know what works, but the people who are more respected in this area tend to think that simpler is better. So my little cheesy thing here may be adequate, and I'll get this last one correct, and we'll go around the course one more time. And we'll get the checkered flag here and show that you have the learner has answered 3 questions correctly. And look at that, we get our results, a score of 100%. I'm pretty good at this. This is language training. In this case, it's training on computer code. The way this works is if you click the bubble, it shows you what this is referring to. So each of these sections is differentiated as you click these, or else you can do it the other way. You can click on a component and then that lights up so you can see what that is. Now, this would work for any type of language, really. If you're teaching a foreign language, or even if you're teaching grammar, this could be an effective way to teach parts of speech, diagramming sentences, that sort of thing. And the way I chose to test this is click and drag. The learner already has neural pathways in their brain around this and where these things go. So now I'm just asking them to click and drag things into hotspots and then submit to see if this is correct. And I, of course, did not get it correct. The way that operates is these are just hotspots here. So as the bubbles are pulled into the call things are moved into a bubble, the correct thing happens as we go along here. Okay, any questions on how that works? Now,
I got a quick question. Was it that wasn't a graded question slide, was it? Or was that just a kind of that interaction designed into the slide? Because there's a little bit of a difference typically between graded question slides versus normal interaction slides.
let's take a look. Here is try again.
Oh, it is. Yep, I
yeah.
see it's form view. Yeah.
There's the design up there. I get two cracks at it. Last workshop, we had Joe Waddington talking about making things accessible, and he made the point that this would not be compliant with being accessible for people who are vision impaired, because if you are vision impaired, you can't see to move things around and click and drag. So to make this more accessible, you could turn this one slide into 6 different multiple choice questions. So each of these different components would be highlighted, and then the learner would select down here what the description is of that particular thing. And then I got that incorrect. Something that I found very helpful in saving time and reducing frustration when I was writing computer code was to use a prefix, a single character prefix in front of every object. For example, B for button, C for call out, D for diagram, that sort of thing. Let me show you how that works. 5.1, okay, here, timeline. That's the wrong. Here we go. Okay, so you see I have a T in front of my text, and I have an H in front of my hotspots, and a C in front of the callouts. So when I'm doing something like creating a trigger, it's a lot easier when you're deciding what object you're dealing with to have a C in front of your call out, so the eye immediately goes to the options that are appropriate rather than a hotspot down here. Does anybody else make use of that? Or does this look like a good idea?
Hey, it's general good practice to name your layers especially when you have a lot of them on there and you're having to move things around. And and a lot of the layers are very similar. It just naming the layers. Oh my gosh, it saves so much. I mean, you put a little bit extra time in the beginning, but if you're having to move things around and make interactions, knowing exactly where the layers are is so helpful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said earlier, we're taking the minutes now to save hours later. There's a lot of things that can be done that take that extra time, take those extra few minutes going forward, but it saves a lot of time, like knowing very quickly knowing what your objects are as you go along. Okay,
Yeah, I
let's.
agree. I think it really helps. And when you start doing a lot of triggers, you can get lost pretty quickly. So to have a good system to name your objects and group them, I think is a great thing to do.
Yeah, I kind of use a rule of three. If I have more than three things there, then it's time to start naming them. Because it does take some time. If it's a very simple slide, it's not going to be confusing. It's a little pointless to do that. But normally, I think it's or for more advanced, more complex slides, it's a very good idea to name everything, or you can drive yourself crazy. Slide Master layouts can have layers. I did not know that until just recently. So why should you care? What this does is it creates kind of a sandwich. You can have the layout will be in back of your content, and the layer can be in front of the content on your slide. Let's take a look. Speaking of cheesy graphics, here we go. Big boat. And, oh, look out, Mr. Sailboat. Oh, poor Mr. Sailboat. That was tragic. So let's take a look under the hood at what just happened. And here is the slide where the collision occurred. Now look on the timeline here. There's only one object, the big boat, incidentally labeled as a graphic with a G. And over here on the layers, there is no layer. Where is the sailboat? Does anybody know where the sailboat is? Let me hold the FN key and the F4 to go over to the layout. Okay, we're in layout land now. There is the layout. And look over here on the layers. We have a sailboat layer. And the sailboat, if I select that, you can see that it has a animation. It has a fly in here. And then we're in the upper corner. Let me play with the thing here. Yeah, we're flying in, and then we have the direction is from the left. That's the way that's working. Okay. Now this is, in addition to being a little cheesy, I'm going to hold down the F key and do my F3. Boy, this is exciting. There we go.
Let me just want to double check. So you're saying that you've added the layer to the master slide, and it does not show that it has a layer in when you use that master slide in your deck.
No, 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 no. So that can be a you can really fool yourself. You can confuse yourself and not knowing where that is. But let me show another example here that might make it
Okay.
well, it might be more similar to what you do or what I actually do. You see an office background here, and this desk is in the foreground because this is a layer on the layout. So let's have some action here, and we can see people come in, and they're in front of the layout and in back of the foreground element, which is the layer. Let's go back in and take a look at that. Okay, here we are, FN and F4. And we'll see this is the layout here, and we see the desk here is the layer, background, foreground, and what you see is in the what action takes place in the slide takes place in there, which I thought was pretty slick. Yeah, go ahead.
You can't see that layer right now when you're in the working slide. It's only in the master. So yeah, that's something you have to. I mean, that's a good idea. I love it. But that's something you have to keep your mind on, that there is a layer in there that you can't see, huh?
Yeah, I think there could be a concern that if you hand this off to somebody else to work on, or if you work on it yourself a year from now, it may be a little puzzling. That could set you off for a while. Okay, here we go with triggered videos. It's not unusual to want to let a user click to run a video and have the video run full screen. I figured the way to do this was to simply have the video full screen in a layer and a trigger on the base layer that showed layers, so it would work something like this.
Once your fingertips and forearms have been sanitized, dispense one more dose of sanitizer.
There we go. But I also wanted to have a seek bar on the video,
Once your fingertips
which
and
I don't
forearms
have
have
here,
been sanitized,
but I didn't want the seek bar cluttering up the static thing. Now let's go back and see what the issue is here. If I add the seek bar here, just go up to the, see, click that and then go up to options. And on the options here on video controls, make that a little larger, I have the option of basically yes or no. No seek bar or have a seek bar. The problem, what I found unacceptable, was to get the seek bar on the frame within the frame. The video itself is no longer filling the frame, and I found it unacceptable to have this dead space over here. Now, I also tried to do this with a different player. If I'm using the standard player here, the classic player. If I go in and change the player to modern, okay, here we are. We're getting modern. Now we can fill up the whole frame here. I'll do a preview. But now the seek bar takes up some real estate in the video. Take a look.
once your fingertips and forearms have been sanitized, dispense one more dose of sanitizer onto the palm of one hand. Then rub your hands together, spreading sanitizer to your wrist, covering your palms, back of the hands, and interdigital
that's
spaces.
Interesting.
Be sure to keep your arms inside your sterile.
Okay, talking over myself. As you saw, when the cursor was off of the video, the seek bar goes away. Maybe not a huge problem, but it could confuse the learner. The learner could think that it's gone away forever and they can't get it back. So I didn't find this as either one of these a suitable approach. Now, let me poll the group here for a moment. I have stayed with the classic player because at least in the past, I found that the modern player did not give me many options in terms of color. I wasn't able to select as many colors. I wasn't able to do a graduated thing here where I go from dark to light. Can anybody defend the modern player? I understand that the big advantage of the modern player is it is adaptive and that it makes your products much more adaptable to different digital devices. So that would really, that is itself an advantage, but I have been producing for an audience that sees all of these projects on a full screen with a full keyboard, so that isn't an advantage. Does anybody have experience with the modern player that would let me know that more recently it does allow more versatility with colors? Anybody want
I
to?
use the modern one. I use the modern one, and I know you can choose all sorts of colors with it, change the colors of it all over. I don't know about gradations though. I have not tried that, but changing the colors is definitely possible on that.
Have you noticed it change recently? I haven't tried it in the last several versions of Storyline.
What do you mean with gradations?
Yeah, well, with colors in general, I know that the one of the recent upgrades really uh, improves the use of color, improves the functionality, the options you have with color. And I don't know if that I haven't tried the modern player since then, so maybe it's a lot
Yeah.
better since I last tried it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I can create custom colors. And now it's not gradiated colors, but it is, full colors over the whole thing. And then they've got accent colors and accessibility colors and a few other things, and changing the fonts and navigation effects and things like that. That's all possible in it right now. So does that kind of answer what you're looking for?
You may have convinced me to try out the modern. I may have to, as much as I like the little gradation here, it's not too much to give up if I can have my work look appropriate on different digital devices. Okay, thank you, Kevin. I'll stay with the.
I do
Yeah.
have a question on playing videos and using or any media. I'm doing a lot of audio calls, and where I'd like to have the learner be able to control where that call is, like, and listen to certain portions. And what I've been doing is just creating a whole slide and making that slide completely tied with that audio, so that the seeker bar as part of the player controls where the audio is, because I have had that mishap where an audio will play and the seeker bar will be paused, but the audio will keep playing and it gets misalignment. Do you have that problem, and do you have any other solutions besides making a whole slide dedicated to just the media element to maintain that consistency between the player seeker bar and the media being played?
Well, I'm about to suggest we do just that.
Okay, excellent.
No, the you should be. Yeah, I know. Now, are you saying the audio is on a layer rather than the base?
No, the audio is on the base.
Mhm.
It is not on the layer. But I basically had created a duplicate slide of the interaction with the media. But then only one of the slides actually has the audio. So when they click on the button to go to the actual audio, then it takes you to the whole new slide. It looks identical to the previous one, so the user doesn't even realize that they've changed slides. But now they can control the audio, because if I had it where they turned on the audio, like they clicked a button and they stayed on that same slide, and the audio turned on, then that means that there could be a misalignment between the seeker play bar and the audio playing. I've had I had an audio end with the seeker bar still at like 2 seconds in before, and that's been a problem and confuses people.
Oh, speaking of confusion, let me continue here and show you what I finally came up with. Rather than using a layer, I made the video a separate slide here. So when I click this,
Once your
it
fingertips
goes
and
to
forearms
a
have been sanitized,
different
dispense one more.
a different slide rather than the a layer. So that slide can have its own seek bar here, and it
Dose of sanitizer
seems to work
onto the
fine.
palm of one hand.
Yeah, that's what I end up using. It just adds extra slides to the whole thing. But yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. I messed around with this, and I came to a really weird problem here. Let's go back under the hood. That this is the one we're looking at. Well, that yeah, that this is the full full Megillah here, and let's go to toward the end here. Listen to the voiceover here, and remember the last thing that I say. We're in development mode now, so let's listen to the voiceover.
Inside your sterile field while moving back to your workstation.
Okay, the magic words are back to the workstation, and you heard it while you were looking at this in developer mode. Let's go to what was produced, and we'll go back to a link to the slide. Okay, link in the slide.
Once your fingertips and forearms have been
forward.
sanitized, be sure to keep your arms inside your sterile field while moving.
Did you hear return to your workstation? No, you didn't. And it sounded as if it got clipped off
Once your
in the
fingertips
middle
and
of the
forearms have been
sentence.
sanitized, your arms inside your sterile field while moving.
Whoops. That's not right. And it's also very embarrassing when it's your client who points that out to you. So let's go under the hood and see what the heck is going on here. Okay, here on the slide, this should work. Here's the trigger. Jump to slide, the slide that the static slide, when the media completes, the media being video 1. What can possibly be wrong with that? That makes perfect sense. But as you heard, it doesn't work. I spent at least well over an hour trying to troubleshoot. I even completely rebuilt the slide. And finally, I realized that this is the wrong trigger to use. What I could use is, or should have used, is when the timeline ends. Now listen to this. When we preview this slide,
Once your fingertips and inside your sterile field while moving back to your workstation.
There we go. We head back to the workstation. And why would that work when it's logically, you can see here at the end of the timeline, the video ends right when the timeline ends. So both of those triggers should work. Does anybody have any idea of why when the media ends didn't work, that trigger?
I was guessing that you had it selected. I didn't realize that you had the video and the audio as 2 separate tracks. Normally, I have video that has the audio in it. So I'm thinking, is it something to do with that the video ended before the audio did, and since it were to go to the next slide, when the media ended, which was the video, it jumped before the audio ended?
No, they're both the same. Well, I mean, you heard the end at the same time when I used the trigger for the end of the timeline. And well, what this is the client recorded the videos, and then I did the voiceover as a post-production kind of thing. And the real weird thing is there were 20 of these slides with video clips. And when I initially finished the project, there were problems with only 2 of them. And then as I continued to work on it, more and more of those 20 slides had that same problem. So I think it's a bug of some type, but I'm not sure exactly, and I haven't taken the time to alert.
Can you go to the video layer there, or the video track, and right click on it and turn off end go to end of slide, or go to end of timeline, show until end, turn that off.
Ooh.
Oh no, I thought it might be that, because if it goes to the end of the timeline, maybe it actually ends earlier. The other idea I have, and I don't know for sure, is that there is a marker on the video that is indicating the end when it's not actually the end. So yeah,
there's something going on with videos and timing, though. I've had similar issues. That's been very frustrating, and it can work in preview mode and then you publish and the timing is off with the triggers. And when you pause and when you play videos and or audio, I had hopes that you were going to say, well, I found what the problem was. Because I have found that I've had to leave some almost like time margins, just similar to what you did here. Like you have the audio end a little bit before the end of the timeline or things like that to make sure I have margins in my triggers. I cannot tell you why or either, but I also believe that there's something going on with timing in videos and triggers.
Has anybody tried to contact the help desk or any of the articulate communities to present this problem to see if anybody has a solution?
Well, would you like to?
No, I haven't done it yet, so I wouldn't be able to speak to it very well, but yeah.
An excellent idea. I think I will go forward with that. But again, that's one more thing to do. And I was focused on getting the darn thing out the door finished and also putting this workshop together so I could commiserate.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I was just suggesting it, that they, there are people, who deal with this stuff, like these online communities that are out there that maybe somebody else has figured it out.
Yeah, I've been so impressed by the tech support, the customer support with Articulate. I think they do a very good job of that.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking when you presented this, John, I was thinking that this was a puzzle or a kind of a knowledge check for us to figure out. And I just thought that would be a great challenge because how complex storyline can get, you can really hide some faults in it and put that out there as a puzzle for the community to figure out. Problem solve this, will ya?
Yeah.
And there isn't a tangible solution, and that's not a glitch. It's just somebody has to dig in deep to find out where the problem is, and that would kind of allow people to explore more features that they wouldn't necessarily be able to explore. So that sounds like one. I'd love to get your project file on this and do some problem solving. I don't know. Now you've piqued my curiosity.
I'll be happy to share all of my problems. No problem. I like to share. Okay, we won't belabor that anymore. Move along to what do we have? Media library. This is something that I discovered a little bit late in my career, and it is a wonderful thing. It is absolutely fine. If you're not familiar with it, let me go to the media library thing here. Where is media library? Okay, you just go up here to the menus, click on the view, we go to view, and then over here we see feedback master and I don't want feedback master, I want media library. Okay, I'm getting twisted around here. Media library, here we go. Wonderful thing here, this shows all of the images that are in this entire presentation. And you can also look just for the characters or just for the audio or just for the video, but I'm a little light in both of those. And here you're able to search, you're able to see just what's in a separate scene as opposed to the entire thing. You're able to see when it was imported down here, change the alternate text. And it shows you how many places this has been used. Do any of you take advantage of this?
I have not, but I'm wondering what do you use that for?
Well, you can insert images. See, click there, insert the image, and you can click there, and it goes into your current slide. And you can also. You can also.
So if you wanted to reuse a character that you had in another slide, instead of copying and pasting that slide, just bring up the media library and insert it that way.
Exactly. And if
Gotcha.
say you used an image in a dozen different places, you can change every single one of them by going down here in the lower right-hand corner, click replace, and we'll just replace, I like dogs.
That's great for, especially like if you have characters that you're reusing throughout, characters with different poses or whatever. That's cool. That's great.
Man, that
Yeah,
save so much time.
I share Anna's cries of hooray there when it comes to rebranding. If we're going to have to rebrand content and do it a quick and easy way to rebrand there. Will that even change media assets that are located on master slides?
Master slides.
Yeah, you mean like borders and
sailboat. Sailboat.
Yeah, because I'll frequently put. I'll put the brand, like the icons or logos for a company on the master slides. I guess that's easy to change anyways, but I'm wondering if it's possible to do that through here. Is change just swap it out in the media library as opposed to going to each of the master slides that have it.
I'm trying to find the sailboat here. That would be, well, what I should do is go into the master slides and find it. Okay, R, runner, sailboat illustration right there. There it is. So you can change things on the master slide.
Library a lot because it's a great way when I update a graphic to just use the media library to just change it, and I don't have to worry about it. So,
so you are making use of the media library. Is that what you're saying, Rob?
I just assumed everybody did. So maybe because I've done it in other applications as well, that it's just like, well, I dump everything into the media library. It's just where I then go there to find things. So yeah.
Once you know, it's one of those, well, duh, why wasn't I doing that all along? That's what I was hoping to get to today. As much as I like that, I have also created what I call a object farm. Over here, as a separate scene that's not attached to anything, are things that I use over and over again. For example, that those of us who spend many hours staring at a screen take for granted a lot of these conventions, but our audience may not be all that computer literate. So depending on the audience, I will start most lessons with a what to expect slide that explains how these things work, how to go forward and reverse, and what a menu is and how that works. Does anybody else do that? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think this is just a waste of time? It won't waste much time because you just user just clicks that and gets on to the next slide.
Yeah, I use a slide, an introductory slide, to let everybody know what the or the users know what the interface controls are like, just in case there's questions, on how to use like the seeker bar, the next buttons, all of that stuff. It's actually a standard template that I put in our team slide group, and everybody from the team just pulls that down and throws that into every presentation they use.
I obviously think it's a good idea, and then usually use learning objectives. And this is really the heart and soul of it. These are all the little graphic things that I use over and over again. So if I'm working on a project here, and especially if I have this up on the this little toolbar here, I just click there. I can select that, copy, and then go to another slide here. And yeah, there we go. So I'm very I think I can do that even more quickly than using the media library. So you going back and forth between the two, I think that's very helpful. Then I also have, this is just a color study on a light background, color study on the dark background I use, and then always end with a congratulations for passing the quiz. This is very similar to my object farm, go back under the hood, rather than using
I actually have a question about your object form. When you're final exporting, do you delete all of those object form scenes, correct?
Once I release it finally, I do, but while I'm in the editing revision process, I leave it in, and because it's not connected to anything, it's not published in the finished project. So it doesn't hurt to have it there, but I will delete it before I do the final release.
That doesn't slow down anything if you have a lot of objects in that object farm, does it? Like, your uploads for review or anything like that, does it?
Well, they're all ones and zeros, so I'm sure it does make the file a little bit larger, which is a good argument for taking it out before you finally release. But on the question slides here, what I do is I have, let's see, let me show you what they look like. That's my multiple choice, and that's my multiple select. So all I do is I go in here, I right click that, I click duplicate, and then I have a multiple select here that I can just click and drag onto wherever it is that I need that question. So I find that as a very quick and easy way to reuse the 3 most commonly used questions. And then a couple other types of questions I have are, I'm running out of time here. This could be 6 different multiple choice questions. This is testing the learner on the initials for the different 6 different products that this company makes. So in one place we get 6 different things here. And then a problem with a lot of questions is they rely on just rote memory of things that really aren't done on the job. So I try to focus my questions on what you would actually do on the job. In this case, the user is they make skin grafts, so they have a large membrane, and from that membrane they are cutting different sizes and shapes of skin grafts. So this is what they would do on the job. They would be given a task, and they would have to go to this reference and figure out what is needed. Then they would have to go to this reference to figure out the best use, and then select these to answer the question. And in this case, it's incorrect. This is what it should be. And if they are wondering, well, why is it that and not what I selected, they can click here to learn why. And then this gives a more detailed description. Now we're running out of time here. Call it a rest here. Are there any questions, or did you bring any of your own tips or tricks or best practices that you'd like to share?
I've got one I could share, and it's helped me quite a bit. And it's along the same lines as your as doing hotkeys, but using the quick access toolbar.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody use that? I saw it going on your storyline, John, but it was up at the top. You could move it just below the ribbon and add all sorts of buttons into that for much quicker access. And I frequently will put the arrange, the arrange and centering tools there. The horizontal, vertical, to put them all there, because I'm always using those, and it's so much easier to have them as a one-click button right there in the middle of the screen, as opposed to going to the appropriate ribbon item, bringing down the drop down, selecting it, and then selecting something else to get it to go in. So that just expedites my workflow majorly, as well as other things such as putting text boxes or shapes in there. It's just so helpful.
Right. Yeah, I saw how you did that with the PowerPoint, and you made very good use of that there. And to tell you the truth, I haven't made much use of, well, as you can see there, no use of the quick access. So I think that's a tip that I can take from this. Thank you all for participating, and I hope that next month, Samuel Apata is going to be talking about what's new in Storyline. As you may well be aware, they keep updating it, keep adding things, and I can't keep up. So Samuel is now going to walk us through all of the newer things and how to take fuller advantage of the improvements to Storyline. So hope to see you next month, third Wednesday, 5:30.
Thank you so much. This was really interesting. Thank you.
Well, I am flattered. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, awesome, John. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.